Call to order the October 23rd meeting of the Cary Town Council. And at this time, I'll recognize Councilwoman Bonsall for our ceremonial opening.
Thank you, Mayor. Hello, everyone. October is a very special and busy month. There's so much more to discuss, but today I want to really talk about the people that live in Cary. They're making Cary what it is today. This past weekend, we celebrated Volunteer Appreciation Day in our beloved downtown Cary Park. Although I couldn't be there because it coincided with Diwali, my best wishes were with everyone who serves our community. Cary's commitment to recognizing and celebrating its volunteers is truly inspiring. Speaking of the residents of Cary, 25% of the residents are born outside United States. It is our diversity that makes Cary shine. Just this month, our very own Mayor Harold Weinbrecht and Morrisville Mayor TJ Cawley went viral in India for their dance performance in Humsab at Cookabooth. All major news publications celebrated this joyful moment that prompted unity, love, and respect across the borders. Many of us, including some from the council and staff, also participated in that dance as well. A fun fact about Diwali is that people buy metal 2 days before the festival, as it reflects prosperity and happiness in the home. In many ways, that tradition mirrors what our volunteers bring to Cary: prosperity through service and happiness through joy of giving. To all our volunteers, thank you for your time, your compassion, and your dedication. You are the heart of our town and the light that keeps our community strong. Your efforts remind us that we give back, we all shine a little brighter, sending endless gratitude and love to those listening. And now, if you can do Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First order of business is the adoption of the agenda. There's been a request to remove item 22 REZ 20, Alston Commons PDP, from today's agenda. Per the applicant, the owners are continuing to work on details associated with the development contract and need additional time before the case is ready to be heard. Is there a motion to adopt the amended agenda?
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. We now move to recognitions, reports, and presentations. And for recognitions, we have a special group in our audience, Girl Scout Troop 789, working on their democracy badge. Would you please stand and be recognized? Thank you so much for being here. Our first presentation is the Cybersecurity Awareness Month proclamation, read by Councilmember Bush.
Thank you, Mayor. This is one of my most favorite months besides all of the holidays. It's Cybersecurity Awareness Month, and nobody gets more excited than I do. Normally, I come up to the front and I have a proclamation, but this time I thought I'd step back and remind everyone about why I get up once a year to talk about cybersecurity. There are a number of threats that are now, I used to talk about it, say, oh, did anybody ever get a phishing scam, or did anyone ever get their identity hijacked? And every once in a while, somebody might raise their hand. But at Scam Jam a couple of weeks ago, which was a targeted and focused scam prevention done by the Secretary of State, Elaine Marshall, and the Insurance Department, as well as Department of Justice, was to help senior citizens understand that they're vulnerable to being defrauded out of their money. And it's not just them. I think it was last week, there was a story about an 86-year-old grandmother in New York City who lost her entire $700,000 life savings to cyber criminals who tricked her for months and put fake pop-ups on her screen and on her computer and impersonated bank officials. You may have even received a text message that says, hey, I'd like to buy your house, right? Or, your UPS delivery is going to be late. Click here. Those aren't from the people that you think they're from. And cybercrime is now expected to cost nearly $10 trillion globally by the end of this year. $10 trillion globally. And it's not just coming to us. Our kids, 60% of our kids now are online, and they're using social media, and they've witnessed things like cyberbullying, and they may have even been victims themselves. And they can accidentally download something that they think it very well might be a game, but is actually malware. And this free game access is actually going into their phones and looking up information about you. So when we talk about cybersecurity, we're really talking about protecting everyone, because we are as safe, just like as we say that safety is a shared responsibility, cybersecurity is absolutely a shared responsibility. And I certainly don't want to hear about another grandmother who lost her life savings, or a single mom whose identity's been hacked and doesn't know how to get into her Venmo or Zelle account. So when we talk about these things, there are 4 things that I'd love each of you to remember. The National Cybersecurity Alliance, which I was a board member, it's called Stay Safe Online now, says there are 4 things that you should really practice. 1 is to use a strong password, right? That doesn't mean your kids' names or their birthdays, right? Or your birthday or the street number. It's really a strong password that has multi-cases and maybe has an ampersand in it or an exclamation point or something like that. Or use a password manager, and they're everywhere. 1Password, and Google has it built in. Also, turn on what's called multi-factor authentication. Now, it's a little annoying, I know. That's when multi-factor means you're going to put in a password and then it's going to text you back, right? And it's going to say, is this really you? That's multi-factor authentication. And then if you see something, say something, right? Recognize and report a scam. If you're in the corporate world, or if you're a Town of Cary employee, you may have received a phishing email this week. And if you did, here's the next question. Did you know that there was a button at the top of your Outlook that says, report phishing scam, right? I didn't, because it was off my screen. I had a small screen. So it's not just important to recognize it and don't fall for it, but to also let other people know when it happens. And then finally, make sure you update your software regularly. I saw a friend of mine the other day with their iPhone who had 780 updates that were required on their iPhone.
Oh, wow.
Right? Like, I'm not going to do that. You need to do that, because a lot of those updates are really important to protect you. So if you need more information, or if you're a parent who wants to know and have access to internet safety for your own kids and how to talk to them about being safe online, you can go to staysafeonline.org, or you can look PBS, well, maybe PBS isn't there anymore. You can go to a wide variety of places to look for how you can train your family, your friends, and yourself on how to be safe online. And with that, I'll read the proclamation, which is that on this month of October 2025, whereas Cary is committed to upholding its values of service, excellence, integrity, and people by protecting the digital trust that supports our residents, employees, and community partners. Whereas Cary recognizes the critical importance of cybersecurity in safeguarding the personal information, financial assets, and essential services relied upon in Cary. And whereas cyber threats, including phishing, ransomware, data breaches, and identity theft, continue to increase in both frequency and sophistication, posing serious risks to individuals, families, and organizations across our community. And whereas digital technology is foundational to life in Cary, supporting everything from public safety and transportation, healthcare to education, utilities, and local government. And whereas Cary recognizes that cyber threats are not only global, but are local, and they target municipalities, our critical infrastructure, community services that residents depend on every day, and these threats can disrupt the systems and the services that people rely on, from emergency response, financial management, to utilities and community programs that impact the safety, reliability, and well-being of our community. And whereas cybersecurity incidents continue to rise across government sectors, with federal agencies reporting over 32,000 information security incidents last year, and nearly a 10% increase from the prior year. And research indicates that more than 70% of US government websites have experienced data breaches. These trends demonstrate that public institutions at all levels are frequent targets of cyber attacks, and it underscores the importance of vigilance and investment in cybersecurity in municipalities. Whereas Cary is committed to securing its own infrastructure, protecting the data that is entrusted to us by residents, and ensuring continuity of critical public services, Cary strives to follow the cybersecurity best practices to reduce risk and prevent service interruptions. And finally, whereas Cary recognizes that October is Cybersecurity Awareness Month, and we remain committed to strengthening community cybersecurity awareness throughout the year by publishing a series of cybersecurity articles that you will find in your BUD newsletter over the next year, inviting internal and external experts who will come and present public talks on digital safety and emerging threats, and we'll be providing short educational videos and practical tip sheets to help our residents protect their personal information, recognize scams, and navigate technology safely and confidently. And whereas these resources, along with other cybersecurity information, are and will be available on the town's website, with additional statewide guidance available through the North Carolina Department of Information Technology. And so on behalf of the entire Cary Town Council, we do recognize October 2025 as Cybersecurity Awareness Month in Cary, and encourage residents to observe this month by taking the previous actions and to protect their digital presence and remain vigilant against evolving cyber threats.
Thank you.
I don't have anyone to give it to. I could just give it to myself.
Great information. Thank you so much. All right, our second presentation is the Diwali proclamation, and I'll invite Councilwoman Bonsall to meet representatives of the SV Temple at the podium for the reading.
You all can join.
Come on up.
SV Temple is a spiritual and cultural hub in Cary, bringing the community together through religious events, youth programs, and festivals. Beyond worship, it actively serves the community with charitable initiatives like food drives, health camps, and support for those in need, fostering connections and compassion. Today, I have the SV Temple board with me, so we welcome you to the chamber, and I'm going to read the proclamation for Diwali now. Whereas Diwali, also called the Festival of Lights, is one of the most significant and celebrated festivals in India, Indian culture celebrating light over darkness and the victory of good over evil. Whereas Diwali is observed by millions of people around the world and in our Cary community. Whereas Diwali celebrates Indian customs and traditions, including the lighting of lamps, sharing meals, and the exchange of gifts, which reflect values of renewal, hope, and kindness. Whereas Diwali brings people of a variety of backgrounds and faith together in our community, which enriches the cultural fabric of Cary. Whereas the Diwali season brings together Cary citizens and surrounding communities to share and celebrate the joy of unity and friendship. Now, therefore, I, Sarika Bansal, Council Member of Cary, North Carolina, on behalf of the Cary Mayor and Council, do hereby proclaim October 23, 2025 as a celebration of Diwali, and I urge all citizens of Cary to join in this festival occasion. Proclaim this 23rd day of October 2025.
I want to thank the SV Board for being here. I think one of my first items that I looked at as a committee member in the early 2000s was to put a sign on Chapel Hill Road for the house that used to be the SV Temple. That's how far you've come. You've come a long ways. Maybe before some of you were born, I don't even know. But it's such a beautiful campus now and a great place of worship, a great place of community gathering. So you've come a long ways, and thank you so much for presenting that to them.
Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, next, our third presentation is Cary Band Day Proclamation, and I'll invite the director and members of the band to join me at the podium. Cary Band Day has been special in Cary for more than a half a century. That's how long it's been going on in Cary. And it impacts lives, not only in music, but impacts our community. You're ambassadors for our community. Jennifer, Bryson Robinson would not be here if it wasn't for Cary Band Day, right?
True. My first time coming to Cary was for Cary Band Day.
So there you go. There's one example right there. And then we have Michelle Craig's son is in the Cary Band right now. No telling what kind of impact that will have. So thank you for holding Cary Band Day. And for those who don't know, it's a competition. And Cary Band competes in a lot of competitions, but not in this one. They'll just have an exhibition in this one. But all the other high schools, they'll be sweating it out because they're competing. And Cary is the host. So thank you for hosting this. Thank you for being a great ambassador for our community. And they draw people from Virginia, Eastern North Carolina, all over to compete in this competition. So recognizing November 1st as the 66th Cary Band Day, whereas Cary High School Band has long been recognized for outstanding musical and marching excellence, earning both national and regional recognition for its impressive achievements. And whereas the dedication and talent of Cary High School Band members bring pride to our community while also reflecting their commitment to academic achievement and personal growth. And whereas music enriches lives, connects cultures, and serves as a powerful force for unity, creativity, and shared celebration. And whereas 2025 marks the 104th anniversary of the Cary Band, which started in 1921 and continues to inspire generations. And whereas for 66 years, the Cary Band has proudly hosted North Carolina's premier celebration of marching band excellence and music education. Now, therefore, I, Harold Weinbrecht, Jr., Mayor of the town of Cary, North Carolina, on behalf of the entire Cary Down Council, do hereby proclaim Saturday, November 1st, 2025, as the 66th Cary Band Day, and I urge all citizens of Cary and surrounding areas to join in honoring and supporting this long-standing Cary tradition, proclaim this 23rd day of October, 2025. Thank you so much. Now we have a special treat. We get to hear from the band members.
Hello, everyone. My name is Bonnie Smith, and this is my second year serving as Cary's drum major.
My name is Claire Wilson, and this is also my first year serving as drum major.
We are proud to be able to accept this year's proclamation on behalf of the Cary Band. For those of you who don't know, this year's show is called Concrete Canvas. It is an exploration into the mind of a graffiti artist.
This show has won us numerous awards this season, as well as Grand Champion Awards last weekend at the Cape Fear Cult Classic competition. And for those non-marching band folks in the audience, that's a big deal.
For 66 years, Cary Band Day has hosted the premier competition, or Cary Band has hosted the premier competition in the state of North Carolina, bringing in musicians from all over our state and surrounding states. Visiting Cary and performing on Cooper Field is a highlight of their season.
So, while we're up here, we would like to invite you to attend this year's Cary Band Day. Every contribution counts to our band. It's our biggest event of the year, and this is how we generate funds for our program. Without it, the magic you see on the field and on the stage would not happen.
Thank you for your continued support of the Cary High School Marching Band.
If you haven't been to a band competition, it's fun. All right. Now moving to the manager's update, I'll recognize Town Manager Stiegel.
Thank you, Mayor. Early voting for Cary Town Council and other area races begins this weekend in Cary. From October 25th through November 1st, Cary Wake voters can come to the Herb Young Community Center here at the Town Hall campus or go to the John Brown Community Center in Apex if that's more convenient. Cary Chatham voters can cast ballots at the New Hope Baptist Church, also in Apex. Citizens can go to the elections section of our website, carync.gov, for details on these and other polling places, as well as a comprehensive elections information. That concludes my report, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Stiegel. We now move to our third item, Public Speaks Out. We've included instructions for speaking at this forum online and on the printed agenda. There were 3 opportunities to participate in Public Speaks Out: through written comments, by calling in, or by attending here in person tonight. And if you are here in person tonight and would like to speak, I would ask that you take a seat in the rows to my right that are highlighted. Public Speaks Out speakers have 3 minutes each for their comments and may speak on any town-related topic, as long as it's not a public hearing, and that works to your benefit because you get more time at a public hearing. The 3-minute time limit will be enforced, not to be rude, but to be fair to all speakers. We have a timer on the podium. It'll start off with a green light. When 30 seconds remain, that light will turn yellow. And when your time is expired, it will flash red, and that's the point I will interrupt you, not to be rude, but to be fair to all of our speakers. I would like to ask speakers to be respectful in their comments and direct their comments to the entire council and not to an individual. And I thank everyone in the audience for understanding and respecting that this is a business meeting. Do not applaud, make remarks from your seats, or anything else that may distract from the meeting. So now is the time for Public Speaks Out, and I will call on our town clerk to read any written comments and call on any registered speakers.
Hi, we had 5 written comments and 3 registered speakers. Our written comments, Billy Yarber raises concerns about e-bikes being ridden on sidewalks and greenways. He reports near collisions and notes that teenagers often ride without helmets. He expresses concerns about safety and the growing impact of e-bike use in his neighborhood. Tave Dakota suggests that Cary consider implementing a dark sky law to limit artificial lighting between 1 a.m. and 5 a.m. Then we had 3 written comments that were from longtime residents of Weston Point that oppose the rezoning that would allow the apartment development near their neighborhood. They cite concerns about traffic, safety, infrastructure, capacity, impacts on community character and wildlife, and potential effects on property values. Our first registered speaker is Rosalind Elwood.
Hi, my name is Rosalind. I'm speaking about the Calic Senior Living rezoning applicant. My purpose in speaking is because Calic Senior Living Development have consistently refused to consider any and all of the Melody Lane community's major concerns. Their massive concrete monolith plans are too large for the tract beside our wells and septics. It will undoubtedly have catastrophic impacts upon our wells and septics and privacy. They've consistently refused to acknowledge the hydrogeologic facts and deny culpability for any damages. We've consulted several hydrogeologists and engineers and met in person with the director of Wake County Water Quality for wells and septics. One of these hydrogeologists laughed when I shared that Calyx told us that their own geological survey proved that it wouldn't affect our wells and septics. Calyx offered to email us this geological survey, but has denied to do so despite several follow-up emails from us. April 30th, we met with the Calyx team and expressed our serious concerns. We were told they would consider a 75-foot buffer, among other things. We provided emails, we followed up and provided our emails, which were completely ignored for months. There's a distinct pattern of obfuscation, delays, and denials. We finally obtained a second meeting on the site, October 10th, with the CEO, attorney, and civil engineer, along with 14 homeowners. Once again, we asked for concessions. We asked for a 100-foot buffer and for them to consider moving the greenway to the west portion of the track, a building design that makes a smaller footprint, a smaller concrete footprint. Most significantly, we requested a contingency fund to assist providing us with reliable water and sewer when our wells and septics are destroyed. Across the board, everything was dismissed and refused, despite them saying repeatedly that they wanted to be good neighbors. Instead, the plan remains as a sprawling concrete monolith with a 50-foot cleared buffer containing the greenway within it just north of our property lines. Despite the promised geological survey, we still have not received this after several emails. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next registered speaker is David Christensen. No. And then our next registered speaker is Gail Johnson. Okay, that sounds great. We'll call you back. Yes, it will. And we'll call you back up for that one. So no additional registered speakers.
Okay, if you're here in the audience and would like to speak at Public Speaks Out, anything that's not a public hearing, now's your opportunity.
Hello, Council. Thanks for the opportunity. My name is Chad Bowers, resident in the Bexley community at 112 Juliet Circle. Speaking again tonight about 24 REZ 14, the rezoning of the 8-acre parcel at the corner of Weston Parkway and Evans, as part of the council meeting last month. At that meeting, several of you had said this proposal needed to go back to the drawing board, that the transitions weren't right, and that this felt more like a redevelopment than a rezoning. And you're right. This isn't just a zoning adjustment, it's a complete redevelopment, and that carries major consequences for the homeowners around it. Under the current zoning, the property already allows a range of uses, and we've lived with that understanding for the past 20 years. When the residents were first shown a concept last year by Highwoods, it included 77 townhomes as an option, or 300 apartments. Then at some point, the townhomes disappeared from that plan. And after conversations with the public, they came back as a mention of up to 22 townhomes, not required, not guaranteed, just merely possible. It's been nearly a year, and this pattern doesn't build trust. It feels less like planning and more like positioning. Feels more like floating non-committal options to create the illusion of flexibility. And as we all know, if it's not in writing, it's not real. So let me be clear. Highwoods has already stated their intention to sell this property. They're not going to be the ones to hold it. And if we trust them, And I value their relationship that we have with them as a tremendous developer here in a local Raleigh developer, but they're not going to hold the property, so we're not going to be dealing with them at a later date. And since the last meeting, the West End Land Use Study was made available to the public. The town has confirmed that it's not an adopted plan yet, and it does not provide guidance for this rezoning in question. And that means that both the public and the Planning and Zoning Board are evaluating this project in a policy vacuum, without the framework that's supposed to guide it. What the study does show is that there's many parcels along Weston Parkway already well-suited for multifamily housing, that the density can be concentrated north of Weston Parkway, but this particular site, it sits directly beside an established single-family neighborhood with many houses less than 100 feet from the site. And a critical look at the plan tells us that if residential is appropriate here, that it should be lower density townhomes and not a 5-story, 300-unit apartment block. That's what would help create a more sensible transition
I'm sorry, I have to
to
interrupt
Lakeside.
you, but your time is expired.
Okay.
If you have additional comments, we would love to see them. If you would leave them with the clerk, she'll make sure we get a copy.
You don't want to read my scribble, I'll write. But one more comment, and yes, I agree, our diversity is what makes us shine. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else for public speaks out? Seeing no one, I'll close public speaks out. And we move to the consent agenda, which is item 4, if you're following along. For the benefit of people watching our meeting on TV or some streaming service, I'll take a moment to review the consent agenda items. Please know that one vote approves all of these items. On consent, we have minutes for approval, bid award for the Go Cary Downtown Multimodal Transit Center Building Demolition Project, 25A02 Farrell Road Assemblage Annexation, disposal of surplus property. Would council members like any of these items pull for discussion? If not, I would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. That takes us to public hearings. Our first public hearing is 25 REZ08, which is at 8732 Green Level Church Road. Principal Planner Aaron Puckett will introduce the item. Council will not take action on this item tonight, but it will be referred to the Planning and Zoning Board for their review and recommendation, and will return to council in a few months for action. Ms. Puckett.
Thank you, Mayor, and good evening, Council. This is a request to rezone approximately 3.31 acres located at 8732 Green Level Church Road. The site is located east of Green Level Church Road and south of the existing stub of Nautilus Place, which is in the Toscana subdivision. There are no overhead power lines along Nautilus Place. According to Cary's GIS data, the site does not appear to be impacted by stream buffers, but field determination of such features will occur at the time of development plan review. The Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Resources Master Plan does not indicate any greenway corridors planned within or directly adjacent to the site. A street side trail is proposed along both Green Level Church Road and Mills Farm Road to the west. Thomas Brooks Park is also located about 0.3 miles northeast of the property. Green Level Church Road is a thoroughfare located west of the site, and Mills Farm Road is a proposed collector southwest of the site. Nautilus Place, the only public street directly connecting to this site, is a local street. The current zoning of the site is Residential 40, or R40, and the applicant proposes rezoning to Residential 12 Conditional Use, or R12CU. The proposed zoning conditions include limiting the use to detached dwellings and associated accessory uses, a maximum density of 1.9 dwelling units per acre, which could allow up to 6 homes, a commitment to providing perimeter buffers in common open space, as some could otherwise be located on individual lots, a minimum of 750 square feet of community gathering space, which is 150 square feet larger than the LDO requirement for a development of this size, and a commitment to curb, gutter, and sidewalk on both sides of streets within the development. Staff has evaluated the requested rezoning against the Imagine Cary Community Plan. As shown by the blue star, the site is located within the Green Level Special Planning Area, neighborhoods east of Flat Branch sub-area. This special planning area supports a gradual downward transition in density moving west from NC 540 towards the Chatham County line, with areas east of the Flat Branch stream not to exceed approximately 3 dwelling units per acre. Additional policy guidance includes clustered subdivision design and a predominant land use of detached dwellings. The proposed R12 CU zoning and density of 1.9 dwellings per acre is in keeping with the area's current land use pattern and generally meets the policy guidance of this special planning area. When looking at the Live chapter, we note the proposal will add a maximum of 6 additional homes on a small site at a density comparable to adjoining developments. Regarding the Shape chapter, the proposed rezoning would provide detached dwellings amidst existing detached residential developments, thereby making a logical use and form transition. The applicant has committed to providing 5-foot sidewalk on both sides of any streets within the development, exceeding the current local street cross-section requirement, which requires sidewalk on only one side of local streets. And this supports the Move chapter policy of applying multimodal street design. When looking at the Enrich chapter, the proposal includes a commitment to ensuring all required buffers are in common open space. The LDO otherwise allows buffers for 8,000 or larger square foot lots to be on those individual lots. This commitment may help better ensure tree preservation over time, which can help protect tree canopy. The project will otherwise meet minimum LDO requirements for open space and for buffer widths and planting rates. A neighborhood meeting was held in June of this year, and 14 members of the public participated. Questions and concerns were related to an adjacent rezoning request, the proposed density, stormwater control measures, and the extension of Nautilus Place. Staff has since received 1 email citing concerns with the proposed density and received 1 call with questions about the proposal. Staff mailed notice of the public hearing to property owners within 800 feet of the subject site, which exceeds both state and Cary's LDO requirements for notice, and staff also posted a sign on the subject site. This concludes my presentation. Randy Miller, the applicant's representative, is available to provide comments, and following the public hearing, I'm available for questions.
Thank you, Ms. Puck. Mr. Miller?
Good evening, Council.
Can you move to your left, please?
Oh, left.
Thank you.
You're
good.
I'm Randy Miller with Thompson Associates, representing the owner of the property. I think staff did an excellent job on presenting this case on the rezoning request. Like was said, the property is asked to be rezoned to R12 conditional use with a maximum density of 1.9 units per acre, which is below what the land use plan has for that area. And the envision is to have a development of the homes be put on there, be compatible with the surrounding neighborhoods. And in order also to be compatible with the neighborhoods, that's why we're proposing that the required buffers and stuff be off the lots, so all the lots will not encroach into the buffer area. And unfortunately, there's only one access to the site, extension of Nautilus Place. I know in part of getting to this point, some of the staff's comments were the fact that, like they said, they would like to have sidewalks on both sides of the street. And unlike the existing street in Nautilus Place, have curb and gutter and sidewalks on both sides. But that's basically it in a nutshell. If you have any questions, I'll answer them best I can.
We'll get back to you if we do. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
So now is the time for the public hearing for 25 REZ08. And first, I'll call on the clerk to read any written comments and call on any registered speakers.
We had one written comment. Ottoman, I would, submitted a comment about his objection to changing the zoning and said it was inconsistent with the neighborhood, will cause significant congestion, and will damage property value. And then for our registered speaker, we had the one, Gail Johnson.
Ms. Johnson? Could you move to your left, please?
Oh.
Thank you.
Yeah. Hello, I'm Gail Johnson. I live on gate 620 Belgate Place. Right near, I could look at the neighborhood. But I just wanted to, because I have concerns, and one of the concerns, history of it, you had another proposal for rezoning where they wanted to put townhouses. And the planning board, and I came and, was concerned and objected to that. The planning board denied that. My understanding is that proposal is going to come back to you. So it didn't come back to you, but it's going to come back. And my concern is that this may set a precedent with this particular proposal that's coming now, because that property is adjacent to it. And they're all together. Right now, there's one home on that property. There's one, it's less than 2,000 square feet on all that property. And I think there's a reason. There's a drainage water problem. I know they talked about storm, whatever they're going to do, storm water, whatever protection. But I know that when they put those in, they passed those costs, when the developers put the storm drains in, they passed that cost on to the homeowners who buy it in HOAs. So those people that will be moving, if they do 6 houses, the homeowner's fee is going to be tremendous. And then they're going to want to move, and you can have speculators buying the property. So that's a concern. I know personally, because when I bought my property, after I moved in, I found the water on my property. And what it would have cost me thousands of dollars to bring engineers in to get the water. If I hadn't gone after the developer myself with a little legal help, so the drains were put in and something else, some drains, whatever they did, souls or whatever. But I know that those people will have that. So I'm kind of asking, could the town send some kind of engineering to look at that water drainage situation? They also said there's only one way out and in that property, and that's through Toscano, through Nautilus Place. Yes, and then they're going to come straight through out of the entrance, out of our entrances to get out. Right now, it's a big traffic mess coming out onto Green Level property. I know there's talk of some kind of stoplight or whatever at Thomas Park, but that won't resolve the problem that we have now trying to get out of the property. So tremendous traffic problem. And I know that you have some rule as to how many, who can do a traffic study. But I believe if you did a traffic study, because if you're going to okay them, the other development is going to come back, and there's no traffic study going to be made. I think that there should be, because right now it's just accidents ready to happen, even with the stop sign over at Thomas Park. You can't get out. I mean, it is a problem for me, but I can kind of work my hours out of when I need to get out of the development to go to the doctor's office. But right now, the school system is bringing all these buses into our neighborhood because they can't stop on Green Level. So all the buses are coming right near me, right on my corner. I can't even get out the corner because they can't stop on Green Level. So there's a lot of problems, and maybe that's why that property only has one house on it now, because of the situation that they're in. I know about the Imagine Cary plan, but I don't think the Imagine Cary plan is for this purpose. And if it's helping, you want this project so that you can have more housing, I don't think this is going to be, I don't think those townhouses are going to be any better, because what I'm seeing is speculators are buying them and then renting them out. So, I mean, that's like almost like you're putting apartments in. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other registered speakers?
No.
If you are here and would like to speak at this public hearing, now's your opportunity, and I would invite you forward.
Hey there, my name's Julie Jackra. I am the president of the HOA board at Toscana. So I thank you, Gail, for your comments. They're helpful for me to hear. It's helpful just to be here. My son's getting to learn the democratic process here and listen in also. Honestly, I'm very happy to see that these are single-family homes. As Gail mentioned, the first proposal we saw for the area that's still labeled R40 scared us a lot. So I feel a lot better with the single-family home proposal that's before us right now. Stormwater, as you heard, was brought up as a concern on the initial call in June. We have 4 ponds that we have to maintain in our community. It's one of our biggest costs outside of our landscaping contract. It's a lot of permitting to have to do. So I would say, please do take that into consideration. If you're asking 6 homes to support the cost of a pond, you're probably talking $1,000 a year. HOA dues for no amenities and no things like that. So that's probably the only word of caution that I have right now. We do not have sidewalks, so it will be kind of an inconsistent look and feel, because Toscana, when we were built, has natural gutters in our yards. It was a phase of Cary's approval process where there were no sidewalks built in. So that connection piece, I think my bigger concern is, again, there is no other in and out. And what are we going to do as green level grows to be 4 lanes? As we continue to have our kids grow up and they're driving cars and they're turning in and out, we already have traffic from Sutherland that drives through, because their turn is even worse to see because they're on a bend. So they drive all the way through on Holston Bank just to come out to turn left or right where we are to avoid more traffic coming in and out of their neighborhood. So Sutherland has 1 in and out. We actually have the 2. One is just a right turn only onto green level. And then the other thing, on behalf of my son, would be to ask you, as you do look to grow this and grow this area of the town, is to get that Parks and Rec underway. We actually have trails and people are walking on them. They're not part of the Cary system, but the outer loop is, and the inner trails are maintained by us, but the people who are in Thomas Brooks right now are walking our trails. They have them. We would love to see more trails, would love to have the town come and add that to part of your Greenway map trails and just take that over, because people are using it from all over. It's a great trail system. It is a lot for us to maintain and try to keep up with. So as we have more homes and more traffic on these trails, it would be a benefit to all of us who live in the area to add that to our map and our trail system, and then hopefully see either mountain bike trails or other trails developed in that area of Thomas Brooks that we already have and so love. We're there 4 days a week visiting soccer friends and all that. But really, thank you guys for doing this, and appreciate all you do.
Thank you. Anyone else to speak at this public hearing?
Would you mind please sharing your name once again?
Julie Jackra. Not a common one.
Seeing no one, I'll close the public hearing. And before,
There's one more.
that's the applicant? Yeah.
I don't know.
We can call you back if we have questions. Okay? Ms. Puckett can come up. And I want to thank our speakers for speaking this evening and being here this evening. Your input is very valuable. I do want to address some of the things I heard. And by the way, any question you have in this process, and I'll talk about this process later, Erin Puckett is your liaison, and she'll have the latest and greatest information, so make sure you stay in touch with her. We talked about, or I heard stormwater, and Cary requires a 100-year stormwater event, or 100-year storm event. So they've got to be able to handle that. Am I correct?
Right.
And so that should help in most cases with flooding. Traffic studies, I want to be clear about traffic studies. We just had a talk on traffic studies. Traffic studies provides information. It does not require improvements. So we could have the information and ask the developer to do something, and they could just say no. So traffic studies just provide information, and we have estimates that could give us information. So I just wanted to be clear about traffic studies. And then I heard comments from both of our speakers about if we want this project, as we grow this area, please understand it's not we. The property owners are the applicants. They are the ones proposing. We evaluate based on the Cary Community Plan that was created by citizens, not by us. And so we're trying to see if it matches the citizens' plan of what they want to see in that area. And so that's what the advisory board is going to do. That's what staff has done. They've shown you some of that. And that's what we'll eventually do. But a big part of that process is your input. So thank you for that input. And I'm going to stop at that and open it up to my council members. That's your district, right, Ms. Bonsall? You may want to speak on this.
Yeah, thank you. So first of all, I really want to thank Gail and Julie to come out and speak at the council meeting. It's very important to hear. It's very important to hear directly from the residents, and it makes more sense when you share your daily challenges. One of the things I want to share with the council, because I live there and my daughter does horseback riding, which is right across from this neighborhood, the traffic is extremely fast on this strip. And it is almost impossible to get in and out of any of these neighborhoods, Sutherland, Toscana, and Woodland. It's, you are going to get rear-ended. And most of the families that live in, like, the demographics of those neighborhoods, they're pretty much younger families with younger kids who are first-time drivers. So it's very, very hard for the student drivers to really exit and enter those neighborhoods. And this goes back to, Mayor, what you were saying, that we just, discussed about the cumulative study. Will this particular case fall into the same scenario where you see where R40 is right adjoining to R12? That's exactly the area that's going to be up for rezoning. So can we look at this together and see what would be the impact? That would be my request, because we really have to do something for traffic calming on that strip.
But again, it's just information. It does not require.
No, I know.
And so I don't want to give,
I
I don't
don't
want to
know-
give false hope to anybody. We can get all the information in the world, and all they have to do is say, no, not doing it.
I understand. I understand what you're saying, but, this is a challenge that I'm sharing on behalf of the residents. And this is constantly, if you go to those neighborhoods, this is one thing that would come up in every conversation.
And what I would rather see is there any criteria for traffic signals evaluated by us or DOT?
That's what I was
in the
wondering. Yeah,
future?
are there any warrant studies
Yeah.
for any of these neighborhoods
That's where it's
on
gonna
Green Level Church?
You mean for the existing neighborhoods?
For the existing neighborhoods, if
That are-
it's that bad, have we gone out and studied these intersections to see if they meet warrants?
I don't believe we have. I'm going to glance toward transportation, but I'm not aware of any recent studies that
Okay.
we have.
I would suggest that we take up Ms. Bensall's recommendation to study these intersections and see if we can talk to NCDOT about having any of these intersections studied to see if they meet warrants for a signal.
And just to be clear for those that are here, NCDOT owns road, NCDOT looks at the criteria, and NCDOT decides whether or not traffic signals go in. All
we
we
can
can do is collect it.
All we can
and
do is
Mother, may
say,
I?
could you look at this?
We can advocate on behalf of the citizens,
Yes.
and I think that's exactly what we're doing.
Yep.
That's the right thing to do. But I think, and just from a project perspective, it's a single-family home. I don't have any questions or issue with this at this point.
I have a couple of questions.
Sure.
but- Okay, so just to reiterate, this was the area we used to call the conservation district, right? Where it had swales and no sidewalks. It was a
It was a nice
exercise in
Nice idea.
It was a nice idea that didn't really
pan out.
pan out. So we'll have a neighborhood in the old conservation district looking feel that connects to a neighborhood with sidewalks and curb and gutter. Do we have that anywhere else? I mean, what does that look and feel like? How do we do the transition? Like, I'm just curious.
Yeah, and we would need to research and see if there's anywhere where this has specifically happened, that, we've had the new design feed into that older no curb and gutter design. That's something we could look into. In terms of how we facilitate that transition, where it connects, that would be something that would be evaluated at time of development plan. Understanding that the extension of Nautilus Place could, in the future, extend further. So for example, if that R40 assemblage to the west were to get rezoned and redeveloped, the other thinking was, this road is not just going to come in cul-de-sac, it's not just going to be sidewalk on, 100 linear feet of road, it could
That's
potentially
exactly
become
what
a longer connection. in the
Right, that's
future.
exactly where I was going is, what does that look and feel? Obviously, we've changed our standards. We know that it's going to be this. Like,
Right.
the next question is, if I lived in that neighborhood and I walked through that new neighborhood, should it happen, I would then want sidewalks and curb and gutter, right? And that, it just sets up unfortunately, us versus them. And I don't want that to happen either. I just want to be really clear, anyone that might potentially live there, it would be a bit confusing, right? Why did they get it? And these are all town streets, right? Nautilus is a town-owned street. Correct? Okay, so that was one of the questions. The density of the abutting neighborhood is basically the same, is that correct?
Yes, so actually, I've got an exhibit I can pull up if it's helpful. This was in your staff report as well, but this sort of shows the surrounding densities. So Sutherland is the lowest of all of the surrounding densities, but this would be at 1.9 at the maximum. So relatively similar to what's to the north and the east.
Okay, and the plan is for this to be a standalone neighborhood, so if there's a BMP that's required, it looks like there's, on the original map, it doesn't look like there's a stream, but if they need to put a BMP, that would also be done at site plan?
It would be done during development plan. I'm sure they'll probably need some sort of stormwater control measure, and it would be on open space within their development.
So that, just from a feedback perspective, I know that, there's one very already long-time development there. Then you have, a brand-new potential six-home development. As Mr. Akka was saying, that's, quite an expense, and we know that we've had to take over a couple of BMPs in the past. So, if the applicant can talk with the other HOA, I think, from a cost-benefit analysis, it would be great if this potential neighborhood could become part of Toscana, if possible, or one of the others, so that they could share that, across all the homes. It's just something to consider rather than having multiple separate HOAs. And I know it's not something that the town does, but it's just a little bit of feedback for the applicant as they're considering it.
Other comments, questions?
I just have a couple of clarifications. Can you clarify for me, a close friend lives on Nautilus, right near that stub, right? So it's sort of, she has a party, I park there, right? So I'm pretty familiar, and we walk dogs in Nautilus. So what I'm trying to understand is, they do have, and forgive me, ditch isn't a nice word, but they have a very big ditch in their yard.
Swale.
Swale, very big swale. That is in fact a water management feature?
I believe so. That would have been the alternative to curb and gutter previously.
It was that old.
We wanted the
We
rural
wanted the
feel.
rural
What happened
feel.
was, no one in this area wanted to have Cary develop, so they said, if you're going to develop, make it look like it's in the country.
Yep.
So our planning department recommended that we have this country-like
Okay.
rural cross-section.
And we signed off on it.
We signed off on it. We thought, okay, let's give
Sounds
this
like
a
a good
go.
idea.
And then what we didn't know is that we pictured like country developments, but what happened is you got suburbs with this road
With the,
treatment.
with the
With the
swale.
swale.
Okay.
Right, and so then it's, after some point, we're like, enough is enough. Let's get sidewalks and curb and gutter back in.
And people said, why don't I get sidewalks and curb and gutter?
when
The
am I
next
gonna
thing
get
is
sidewalks?
happening,
Yeah.
when is
Yeah.
I get sidewalks?
So
That's the
with-
next
Yeah.
question.
So with it connecting to the stub, how does that work that now there's curb and gutter? Where's that
She was
water?
asking.
That was my question.
Where's it going?
Well, I
Oh,
think,
you put it underground.
And, so it's really just to let it sink down into the ground in a,
No, they create a stormwater
System.
system that'll take it out, just like all of our curb and gutter here. The swale
out
is
to where?
above.
To a neighborhood that doesn't have curb and gutter?
no, to the,
no.
to the sewer system.
Just, the swale is
It'll go
just
straight to
the sewer system above ground.
That's what I'm asking. So if the
But-
current sewer system is above ground, how does now the underground sewer system?
Connect.
Stormwater system, not sewer
Stormwater system just connects it.
So the stormwater goes into the swales.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Am I not saying this clearly? I'm
Does
just,
some engineer from our staff want to address this?
Look at Russ, he's like,
He said, no, thank you.
They'll connect.
yeah, they all connect.
That's the answer. They'll connect.
Can you repeat the question?
so if the neighborhoods that are there, and that my understanding is this is both sides, I'm only familiar with Toscana, they've got swales
Yes.
instead of what would be a traditional gutter.
Yes.
And so if this neighborhood puts in traditional curb and gutter, where does the stormwater go?
And we've got the situation in a lot of places where you've got widening that we've either done adjacent to widening that hasn't been done, and depending on topography, it'll either come from their site into their swale or go from their site into a pipe.
Oh.
They would then build that would be largely under the curb and gutter and then connect to a storm drainage system.
Thank you. So depending on the topography, it's even possible that water from Toscana could go into this new neighborhood.
I'm not familiar with the topography, but yes, that's possible.
Okay, thank
Depending
you.
on which way it flows.
I just could not wrap my brain around how that curb and gutter would work there. I just want to also say, I was really pleased, and I know that the sidewalks won't be connecting to it as existing sidewalks. I was very pleased to see sidewalks included as a condition on a rezoning. I would love to see more of that, because that is, I think of all the things I hear from residents, does anybody here request for anything more than sidewalks? I don't think, it's the thing. So I just wanted to make sure to point out how most excellent I thought that was. And then, just really quickly, the buffer, what is the width of the buffer that's required?
So as of today, it's completely surrounded by other similar single-family detached development, which would only
Oh, I'm sorry,
occur-
I meant the stream buffer.
Oh,
So
the
there's-
stream buffer.
Yes, I'm sorry, yes.
There's not a stream buffer on this site according to our GIS. There may be a stream shown on our maps, and if there is, they would have to get a
Okay.
determination at time of development plan and figure that out. We don't have a stream buffer.
I misunderstood that. So the gathering, or the open area will be also the buffer, as in the buffer between the neighborhood and adjacent?
Right, the perimeter buffers in between the neighborhoods would have to be on common open space.
Thank you, I appreciate it. That's all my
But
questions.
that's not the same land as the 750 square feet of gathering.
Correct, so the perimeter buffers would not count toward the gathering space. That would have to be an actual
Okay.
gathering space.
Well, I think one thing that we often see when you get down to smaller parcels of land are people shoehorning a lot of development onto the site. And so I really appreciate the developer coming in with lot sizes that are like the neighboring developments. I think this is really nice, and I agree with Carissa. I think it's wonderful that they're putting in the sidewalk on both sides of the street and doing a 750 square foot community gathering space for just 6 lots. There's a lot of pluses to this development. I'm not as worried about the flooding off of the site for the reason that the mayor mentioned, that we have really high stormwater standards. So I'm very pleased with this.
And the follow-up on the storm water standards, they weren't always that way. We had none in 2000, then we went to 5-year, then 10-year, then,
100
I can't remember.
100 now.
20-year, and now we're at 100 years. So we're trying to adjust to climate change where the stormwater mitigation really matters, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is the first time one has come in that normally you have a give and take and a back and forth, and, well, I wish you could do this, well, I wish you could do this. Well, this one came in with a lot of good intention, which I really appreciate the authenticity and the intention aligned with it. And I would like to see if staff can find it, what you all think it might look, the transition from rural conservation district to sidewalk, what that might look and feel like.
I would imagine that you have this like a ramp at the end that runs perpendicular to the sidewalk, and then, you know what I mean, like, just like you would finish off a sidewalk.
Yes,
so.
I'm curious
Yeah.
of how that looks.
Yeah, it'll be fine.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Well, and they have, in Toscana, they have walking paths. So it's not as though they don't have anywhere you can walk. It's just not
Yeah.
lining on the streets. So
Yeah, right.
maybe it could be, at some point, become a path.
Yeah.
Other questions, comments? So this will go to our Planning and Zoning Board. That's an advisory board, and what they do is determine if this matches the Cary Community Plan, which I mentioned earlier. Their decision is a recommendation. It's not a binding decision. So all it is a recommendation. So then it'll come back to council in a few months. And at that time, council will evaluate the citizen input, the staff input, the advisory board input, and make a decision at that time. Until then, I would invite you to work with the applicant on any concerns. I would also, if you have any questions, please contact Erin Puckett. Like I said earlier, she will have the latest and greatest information, more than we would. But you're always invited to contact us with any questions or information. We'll get those answers to you. And you're invited to come back to each and every meeting. You can come back at any meeting and talk on any topic you would like. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
All right, we will move to our second public hearing, 25A07 Wesley Manor. Principal Planner Rachel Smith will introduce the item, and council may take action. Smith.
Yes, good evening, council. The owners of approximately .7 acres located at the northwest corner of High House Road and Bay Oak Drive have petitioned for annexation. The request also includes .42 acres of intervening right-of-way along Bay Oak Drive for a total annexation area of 1.12 acres. The property is currently located in Cary's extraterritorial jurisdiction and was rezoned to residential 12 conditional use in March. Annexation is being requested in order to connect to Cary utilities for the development of up to 2 detached dwellings. Following tonight's public hearing, council may take action on the proposed annexation. This concludes staff's presentation, and I will be available for questions following the public hearing.
Thank you, Ms. Smith. So now's the time for the public hearing for 25A07 Wesley Manor. And first, I'll call on the clerk to read any written comments or call on any registered speakers.
No written comments and no registered speakers.
If you're in the audience and would like to speak at this public hearing, now is your opportunity. Anyone to speak at this public hearing? Seeing no one, I'll close the public hearing, open it up to council members for questions, comments, or motion.
I don't have any questions, so I'll make a motion to approve annexation petition 25A07.
I'll second.
There's a motion, second, and a third. Discussion.
I think there was a fourth.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. All right, moving to our discussion items. Our first discussion item is data governance strategy policy and artificial intelligence policy review. Our CIO, Nicole Coughlin, will present this item, and council may take action. Ms. Coughlin.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm here to share an update with you as to where we are with our proposed data governance strategy and artificial intelligence policies. I want to start by thanking Council for initiating this important conversation on artificial intelligence policy back in January. Your leadership set the foundation for everything that has followed since. Over the past year, our team has been learning experimenting, and engaging with experts, including workshops here in Cary, as well as at Harvard, to ensure our approach reflects best practices and Cary's values. The feedback you shared during the September work session helped shape the data governance strategy and AI policies before you today. They're grounded in strong data management and responsible AI innovation. This has truly been a one Cary effort built through cross-departmental collaboration and shared learning to ensure we move forward together with both curiosity and care. And as we talk a little bit more about how our values impact the way that we look about our approach for both the data policy and also then therefore the implementation, I want to share how we look at them through the lens of our values. So people first. Data and AI is not about technology, it's about people. We are listening, building trust through transparency, and ensuring staff and residents feel informed, supported, and included in this transition. Evolution. We're taking an iterative approach, starting small, learning fast, testing and refining as we go. Through small pilots and real-world use cases, we continually adapt to community needs and emerging technology. Working smart. By integrating strong data governance with AI, we create the potential to reduce routine work, improve access to information, and give staff more time to focus on higher value priorities. This approach can strengthen data-driven decisions and help us work more efficiently and responsibly for our community. And anyone can lead. Data and AI belongs to everyone, not just IT. We're creating space for staff across all departments to collaborate, lead pilots, and serve as data stewards. This collaborative approach allows us to reimagine how we deliver services. Policy 188, Data Governance Strategy, is a framework that ensures that data receives equivalent governance and attention and protection. We understand that we need to be privacy and security. It's our main thing, by the way. Fairness and access, transparency, accountability, and innovation. Policy 189, Artificial Intelligence, defines staff's understanding of AI and establishes an ethical framework. Framework addresses potential risk, including algorithmic bias, privacy concerns, and transparent challenges. Policy 189, Artificial Intelligence Guiding Principles, would be human-centered design, always putting the human in the middle. Safety and security, privacy, transparency, fairness, accountability, effectiveness, and workforce empowerment. Next steps. If the proposed policies are adopted, the next steps will include: Clerk's office will update the website to reflect 2 new policies. Staff will update language in Standard Procedure 165, Artificial Intelligence. An interdepartmental data governance and AI committee will be formed, and a work plan will be developed. Staff recommendations. Staff recommends that Council consider adopting Policy Statement 188, Data Governance Strategy, and Policy Statement 189, Artificial Intelligence. Questions?
Thank you, Ms. Coughlin. And I was really looking forward to what you had to say about this, and also looking forward to what Laurie has to say about this. But before Laurie speaks, I want to put you on the spot.
Sure.
So I know this is ever evolving in exponential ways. I mean, just in the last year, I can't believe how much I'm using it. So my question to you, do you feel like we're just taking the first of many thousands of steps, or do you feel like we've got a better grasp on things? And I know we're going to evolve and change as we go. But.
Yeah, it's actually a great question, because I think it's a little bit of both, right?
Okay.
I think we're grounded in learning. I think we've got a great framework to work within. I think it's going to go really, really quickly, right? So our challenge is much like most of technology, right? It's going to be keeping up with it. This, for me, is a very human endeavor, though, because it has the potential to impact everyone. And so we're being very careful and thoughtful about how we do that to make sure that we're bringing everyone along and training them and providing the tools and the time to learn.
Awesome. Laurie, I'm dying to hear what you have to say.
So first off, I would like to thank you. I think you took some great direction from the other council members here at the table. I thought both Councilmember Robinson and Councilmember Cohn-Johnson gave you some feedback to look at data governance first, as it's the basis for AI in general, that without a data governance policy. So I really enjoyed reading that. I also appreciated within the policy the recognition that AI is evolving so quickly that to put a true hard policy in place is really difficult, since it evolves so quickly. Anything you put in place right now in 6 to 8 months probably wouldn't be applicable. So I liked how you framed it around our guiding principles and in our mission, which was very different than some of the other AI policies that I read, like San Jose's and some of the other folks who got out, I think, potentially ahead of their skis. And no, I don't ski, so I just know what that means. And so I appreciated that. I also was really grateful that you talked about public service efficiency. You talked about the goals of the policy rather than the how of the policy. So I really thought it was both policies are very thoughtful and will allow us to really harness the benefit of all the technologies associated with it. And I think likely will be a regional, as many things that staff does, ends up becoming a model for our regional partners to take on and use. So I actually enjoyed, of course, I'm nerdy, but I really enjoyed reading it. And I like the thoughtful way you guys, you as a team, all weighed in on it.
Ms. Robinson, you live this every day. This is what you do. So I'm dying to hear what you have to say about this.
Well, I think both policies are excellent, as Lori said. The thing that I probably am most excited about is that you're creating this data governance and AI committee that will be cross-department. What we find with governments that do this is that they actually foster communication. They're using that committee to foster conversation that propels this new cooperation among departments. So I'm really excited about that. I think that's an essential element to the data strategy, so I love it. I will say really fast, for those of you who've been around Cary for a long time, we used to have a town manager named Bill Coleman, who has since passed away, and I remember sitting in here around 2006, and he said to me, Jennifer, we don't have our data together. We don't have all of our data in one hub, and we don't know what data we have. And I had been working in data already for, probably, 10 years or so. And I remember being shocked. And I was like, what? We don't have our data together? That's terrible. I can't believe that, because I was working a lot with private sector at the time. So it is really great to see this concrete step. I think, Nicole, you've been doing a lot with data for a long time. So this is not, for citizens who are watching, this is not the first step.
Correct.
This is step 5,000, but now what you're doing is you're putting some formality around it.
Exactly.
And I love it. I love what you're doing. I will make one tiny little edit, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, absolutely.
On the data governance policy, you have your glossary of terms, you're defining everything. The last one is not in parallel with everything else, and I know that's a nitpicky thing.
The
but
subject.
It's, yes, subject, verb. You have just a verb. So if you can just, we'll approve it, but if you could just go back and just clean that up, so it's just nice and clean. I'd
Absolutely.
appreciate it. It's the people who provide context and ensure data for the subject matter experts.
Other comments?
Can you just go back to what your next steps are from a policy, after a policy is approved? Sorry, on your timeline? You had a great graphic. Yeah, that one.
So the one thing I actually didn't mention is the workshop similar to what we did with David Graham. We're going to do a similar workshop facilitated by IDC. Not quite sure what that looks like in format, but similar around
Yeah, I
data.
remember
Around
seeing
data.
it on there.
So that we can make sure that the data is aligned with our AI.
And what is your expectation after that? What do you I'm not asking, like, I can see her like, no, I'm not telling you.
Why don't you
But-
just give us periodic updates from the committee?
Right, yeah, is that what we should expect is updates from the committee members?
Sure, we can come back whenever you would like, and I'm happy to provide a presentation.
That would be great. Okay.
Whatever cadence you would like.
That's perfect. Well, I'll make a motion to approve.
I just wanted to
Oh,
make one,
sorry.
just
Go
one
ahead.
quick comment. When we asked staff to dig into this and asked you to dig into this, I thought to myself that night, I was like, how are they going to do that so it's not obsolete overnight? And you did it, and I just want to commend you for that. I would not have been able to figure out how to go about that as well as you did, and I just was really impressed with the fact that it's like I said, not going to be like, oh yeah, we did that thing, and now everything's changed a month later, so well done.
Well, and I will say, when we talk about the cross-departmental groups and the importance of it, that's what made this policy, right?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, are there other
Yeah,
members that want to talk to?
I
Sorry.
just want to
I
follow
got
up and say,
excited.
I'm exactly where you were. I was
Yeah.
like,
How are they going to do that? Yeah.
so, I'm sorry, on this end.
Ms. Sarko, you also contributed a lot to the conversation that initiated this.
Yeah, I mean, this is my area of expertise.
Yeah.
So I'm very glad to see that, we are making some progress in this area. First step is obviously for development of policy. I have a question. I didn't see anything which, I know that there is, under artificial intelligence, it talks about potential risk, but with data, risk is always the biggest factor. Like, how are we managing the risk around data leakage, data manipulation?
Karen Wish, the security person, was here today. So it's a great point, right? It's something that we think about every day. We do have security policies. We're very fortunate to have a CISO and a team, and they have been doing lots of training this Cybersecurity Month. But that's always forefront in everything that we do, in every application that we come in. We have a risk matrix that we go through. We also use vendor tools to help us analyze the risk of bringing in a different application and that background of that company, as well as just good data practices internal, which will be part of the data governance as we're bringing in the stewards, and will always be to talk about that.
Wonderful. So we have that policy separately, and then this is going to be that will apply on this one, is what you're saying. Okay, that makes sense. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Momsen. Ms. Craig or Mr. Smith?
This is not my area of expertise, but I'm learning, and I'm excited to have the opportunity to learn more.
Jack?
Well, I'm trying to keep a straight face and say this is my area of expertise. Somehow I think you'll see through all of that. No, I think anything like this, the explosion of opportunity to make us all more effective is there. The converse to that, or the other side, is the challenges will be always great so that we don't have abuse. And what I do like is we have a kind of a culture that follows that stuff closely, and that we have great leadership in our IT area that will help us with that. So the opportunity is there, and the confidence I have is we have the organization that I think will take those challenges head on. I think, Lori, Carissa, and Jennifer, you said them all well. This will be a constant dynamic from my perspective. And, maybe we'll be at the point where we're going to have to hire a lot of my grandkids to help with this stuff. I don't know. But I think it's a great step, and I really like the thought that was put into it. So,
Ms. Bush, I think we're ready for you.
Okay, sorry.
Go for it.
I'll recommend, or make a motion to adopt the policy statement 188 and 189, data governance strategy and artificial intelligence.
I'll second that.
There's a motion and a second. Discussion. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion's unanimous. Thank you, Ms. Kaufman.
Thank you.
Our last discussion item was pulled or tabled at the beginning of the council meeting when we amended the agenda. So now the council will go into closed session. Would someone like to read a motion?
Pursuant to GS 143, 318, 11A, 1 and 3 and 6. I move that we hold a closed session to consult with attorneys employed by and/or retained by the town in order to preserve the attorney-client privilege between the attorneys and the town, prevent the disclosure of information that is made privileged or confidential pursuant to the laws of the state, including GS 143-318-10E, or not considered a public record within the meaning of Chapter 132 of the general statutes, and to consider the qualifications, competence, performance, character, fitness, condition of appointment, and conditions of initial employment of one or more individuals, public officers, or employees.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously, and the council will now move into closed session.
We're in there.
1:35? reconvene our council meeting. We have concluded our business, so this meeting is adjourned. All right, take care.